Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We are broadcasting live from the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by Carnations. We want to thank them for their sponsorship. We love them. You'll have to do a few things in order to participate in chat. Go to our YouTube page, UFO Paranormal Radio. You go to all of our Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Horsefly Chronicles Radio, and you can go to SoundCloud, Podbean, Twitch, and all of those platforms. So tonight, guys, we have an amazing guest to the show. Please let's welcome to the show Laurie Bombara. She is I said it wrong?
No.
Okay, I got it right. She's a paranormal experiencer and a content creator that really shows her spiritual side. Tonight, we're gonna dig deep into all of her paranormal and spiritual experiences that she has had and that led her to be a really well-known content creator on TikTok, doing all of her spiritual experiences on there, which I love. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I have to say, I like I said before, I really got attracted to you when I heard your story on TikTok about how you went to heaven and all of these things that happened to you. Before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I was born and raised in Brooklyn. We moved out to Jersey about 4 years ago. And I have to say, like, throughout my entire life, I have had many, I guess, spirit encounters. And I still don't know why. If you say that I have some type of gift, I have it, but I don't know how to use it. But the story about when I went to heaven, this happened maybe, 20 years ago. And I had just mentioned to you, like, during the summer was when, something woke me up, and it was, again, 3:00 in the morning, saying, flat out something told me, tell your story. And I sat on it for a couple of weeks, and I, didn't understand what tell your story meant. But I was then watching a Netflix. I don't know if you guys know the NDE stories on Netflix. I was watching it one day, and it just occurred to me, like, this is the story I have to tell. And I hadn't told it in 20 years. So that's kind of what started me on this, TikTok journey and spiritual journey, and just, telling my stories.
Wow. Well, I'm an NDE experiencer myself. Yes. And I'd like to ask you, what did you see in heaven?
So I'll just start from the beginning. My cousin had taken his own life, and this happened about, I want to say, 6 months after. I was sleeping, and he came to me in spirit form, and he said, I heard you want to see what heaven is like. I said, okay, I do. He said, all right, I'll take you. Takes me by the hands, and this wormhole opens up on top of my oven. It was just this, like, big wormhole, swirls of energy, and we go through it. And in no time, I'm just like overwhelmed with peace and love. Like, I can't even say it was a place. It was just more of a feeling. And there were a bunch of people there. All of them had their pets with them that they had earthside. So now I know that my puppies and everybody, all the dogs and animals that I have here are with me for all eternity. All of them had their pets, but they all had, they were all different colors. And my cousin was speaking to me, but telepathically. And he was saying, everybody were, they were their aura colors. So I saw purple, blue, yellow. And I was like, in my mind, I was asking the question, and he answered me, they're their aura colors. So I was like, okay. And everybody, I couldn't make out facial features, but everybody had this like swirl of energy on their face and swirl of energy on their body with their aura color. We want me to continue? I'll tell you everything.
I want you to continue. Yeah, I'm very interested.
So this was like a level of heaven, supposedly. And this was like, he was telling me this telepathically as I was with him and just viewing all of this. It was a level of heaven. And he was on this level because he had taken his own life, and he had to like work in order to get to like the top level of heaven. And everybody on this level was working. I'm not sure if everybody had taken their own life on this level, but everybody had to work in order to get to the next level of heaven. And their jobs were to kind of like be guardian angels and help God, I guess you could say, answer prayers. But in my head, it was kind of like a guardian angel. And everybody was, you know, they were assigned specific people on earth. And he kept taking me back to my kitchen, and he kept showing me the time, and it was 3:28 in the morning. The time on earth never changed, but he kept doing that to let me know that I wasn't dying, to let me know that I was just like experiencing heaven, and I'm not, you know, I'm coming back. I'm not dying, I'm coming back. And I don't know what 3:28 means till this day, but that was the time. I play in a lotto all the time, but I still don't know what it means. And then there were so many other things, but I woke up, and that was it. Like, it was over. But till this day, I mean, I feel like I have a feeling on why he had to show me, because my father had committed suicide also 10 years ago. And I feel like if I didn't tell anybody on TikTok that yet, but I feel like if he didn't show me, I would have like down spirals, you know? So I feel like maybe that was one of the reasons. I don't know. But it was
I would agree with that. That's like a message coming through, and then just by talking to you, listening to you, you're a lighthouse, and the spirit realm knows that, and they can communicate with you when you're open and you have that listening part. You know, sometimes we're closed off through society and what we do every day, but it's fascinating. Now, Jewel, one of the things she said that struck a chord was that she said he was working in heaven to get to the next level. Now, we had a friend, and in a dream state years ago, Big Ron, I'm talking about, Jewel, and I see him in heaven, and he's like, he was happy, he was working on a building. I'm like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, it's great up here, man. I just got to finish up to make it to the next spot. And he was laughing.
That's crazy.
So that's fascinating to me that came through. And I believe that brings some closure, right?
Of course.
To let you know that there is another side, and they're saying, hey, I'm okay.
And he was so happy. He was so young too. He was only in his early 30s, but he was so happy and so at peace. And I can't even describe, I don't know if you had that same feeling, but that level of like, I never felt such love, you know, and I can't even compare it to any type of love. Like I said, I'm happily married. I have 3 babies, and the love that I felt was like unlike anything else I've ever felt in my entire life. It was amazing.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Right?
In 1981, I had that experience. I could definitely relate to that love. It's unconditional. There's no words really, and it's nothing that we even compared love here. It's like a night and day. But it's fascinating, and I like to hear those stories. So you're a paranormal experiencer. Let's dig deep.
I guess you can call me that. But yeah, so I've had, you know, a few experiences, I guess. Before that, you want to hear about my first?
Yeah.
So the first time, we had one house, and then it was connected to another house. So the house next door, they decided to sell the house. We bought it, and now we had 2 connecting houses. I'm one of 5 children. So my mom and dad were like, let's just buy these 2 houses. We'll connect them. I'll have one big house. Fine. My bedroom was in the new house in the front of the room. So I'm 12 years old. I'm the only one sleeping in that house, that side of the house. And again, between 3 and 4 in the morning, first night, Monday, it must have been something pushed me, woke me up, and I was told to look, you know, to my left, and I saw 2 figures, both with fedoras, just sitting there doing nothing, just staring at me, staring around. Okay, fine. But I was not scared for some reason. Went back to sleep. Next one, 3 in the morning, something pushed me, woke me up, told me, look, this happened for like 5 days straight until finally I was like, okay, maybe I should tell my mom that something's waking me up and just staring at me. So I happened to tell my mom. She, freaked out. She got a priest. We saged the house and she had the house blessed. But I never saw them after that. And I don't know if I like missed the message or if I was supposed to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Did she send them home? I still don't know because I didn't get a message, but they left after the blessing. So what do you think about that? I don't know.
It's definitely interesting. The time that it happened is interesting too. That to me, it's I don't think it's negative, that's for sure, because
I didn't feel that.
negative wouldn't leave no matter what you did. It wouldn't leave. So it's not negative. I think that, like I said, you were a lighthouse in a way where, they are able to communicate with you. And then maybe they, through intent, maybe they thought you didn't want them around. And
I feel terrible.
There's so many, when you're a lighthouse, there's so many ways that we can get spirits attached to us. And, I think the worst thing is everybody thinks that, they're bad. And of course, as a little kid, you're scared because you're a little kid. Obviously it wasn't a bad spirit, and maybe you guys did send it back where it was
maybe home.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for. That it just wanted to go home. There was 2 of them, so they just wanted to go home. Maybe.
So all they did, they blessed the house and they saged the house.
They saged the house, they blessed the house, and that's it. They were gone. I never saw them again. Right? That was the first time.
Just because you didn't see them again, though, sometimes they could still be there. You can have like a block on you. Did you ever hear anybody in your house ever saying that they saw someone after that?
Yeah, totally. And that brings me back to like our Ouija board, which I think was the worst decision of our entire lives. Do you want me to quickly tell that story?
Oh, yeah.
So, my father had passed away, and he passed away in that house where I saw those 2 spirits, and he had taken his own life. But a few days after, like it was the day before his funeral, we were like desperate. My entire family, all of my brothers and sisters, we were like, what happened? Like, I don't understand. We need to talk to Dad. What do? We go get a Ouija board from Toys R Us. Toys R Us was like up the block. They were selling Ouija boards. I'm like, all right, let's try to communicate with him. It does what it's doing. We're asking it the questions, and there's a picture of it on my TikTok because I told this story. But my brother Chris, he was like, okay, I'm going to take a picture. Let's see if we see anything. We snap a picture. He all of a sudden is like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Everybody stops, and he turns the phone around, and there is this white being on top of the Ouija board. It is like you can make out facial features. You could see it looks like it has like wings, something, but we were just like, done, absolutely not. We said goodbye and whatever. But when I posted that picture, people were like, you're not seeing what's in the background. Like there's a spirit there, there's a spirit there. And I was like, I am done. I am never again playing Ouija boards. So like, I feel like that was also something that, no, never again.
See, the thing with the Ouija board is you never know who you're talking to. And we've all done that when we were kids. I mean, and you don't know who you're talking to. Could it be your father, or could it be something that's not? You have to really know what you're doing, and you did the right thing.
Yeah, we were just so vulnerable. We would have done anything. So stupid thinking about it. But my mom had actually seen a psychic, and one person was like, it's the angel of death. And then another person said it was like one of the saints. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I have not even thought about touching a Ouija board since. It just never again.
Well, the thing about it too is that what is it? It's just a board. The Ouija board is a board. It's your intention and the power of thought of really what happens with the Ouija board. I mean, you could use a flashlight as a tool. It's your intention.
Yeah.
The thing is, you don't know what you're talking to. I mean, he knows all about that.
Oh no.
Yeah, and you don't know what's coming through. And you know, some of these things play trickery. They'll say they're your friend or your parent or somebody, and it's the devil in disguise, right? You don't know. You're talking, you're blindfolded, and yeah,
Well, a
you
lot
know.
of people, like, they had commented, they were like, listen, you know, your cousin didn't come to you. This is the devil in disguise. And I'm like, there's no ounce of me that feels anything negative, anything evil. Like, I'm telling you, it was not a dream. He took me there. And I will take a lie detector test on that. Like, there was nothing evil about it. So I don't understand why people tell me, like,
You
devil
know,
in disguise.
because not everybody is going to believe, and it's, and that's okay, because that it just means it's not their time to believe,
Mm.
but what I believe happened is that your cousin actually wanted to show you something. That
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
what happens is, you said that your cousin, took his own life, and so did your dad. So maybe I think he wanted to show you what happens after that happens, and after that happens, where does the soul go? Because so many people have all these theories of, what happens after that. And people say you go to hell, and that's not true.
Yes. No.
Maybe you have a little job to do, to get where you've got to get, and that's okay. But that's my opinion. I mean, everybody has different opinions, but that's what I believe. And I think that's what he wanted to show you.
It
Does
had
that
to
make
be,
sense?
and this was like, well, this was 2001. My father was 2012. So it was a long time in
Mhm.
between.
Right.
So even after my father passed away, they were like, people were just like, he's in hell. I'm sorry, like outright, just sorry, he's not going to heaven. Like, how do you even tell somebody that? So it definitely is one of the reasons why he had to show me, but
Because
still,
that thought process was going through your mind, because people were putting it there,
no.
right? Even though you didn't believe it, but you had to see that. And you just can't listen to when people say those things. You just have to learn how to, like, put it in one ear and out the other, have thick skin, and which you
Yeah.
do.
Well, you know what it is? If you ask 100 people the same question, you're going to get 100 different answers. Everyone's got an opinion. And what I usually say is base the answer, the correct answer, on your vibration of what you feel is true.
Absolutely.
Because they're not you, they're not God. And quite frankly, we know everything within ourselves. So you feel it, right? You can feel what's right.
Yes.
And, I always say that I don't care what anybody says. You don't believe in ghosts? Um,
Okay.
it's lessons to be learned. And again,
Yeah.
we're hardcore. We were non-believers in a lot of stuff, but it is real. And I believe that's a sign from your cousin, a sign of validation. Hey, let's just make this show a little bit more interesting and fun. You said you're from Brooklyn?
Yes.
Haha, so we're originally from Staten Island. Now let's talk about Brooklyn food. Come
No.
on. The best pizza, the best cannolis, the best calzones.
You want to
Lay
get
on.
you go to either Da Vinci or L&B. We all know L&B, right? Villa Bate has the best pastries. If you want a really good salad and smoothie, you go to Baby Olive. Oh my God, what else? Nothing beats Brooklyn food. Every
No,
Saturday morning,
Brooklyn's the best.
these iced coffee. It's just Jersey is maybe a close second, I could say, but nothing compares to Brooklyn. Nothing.
Oh, I agree. It's funny because back in the day, well, look, I'm Generation X. I mean, we used to hang out underneath the L.
Yeah.
Everybody had like the Guido cars, I mean, and all that stuff. And it was fun back in the day. But the food and the clubs, pastels and all those places.
See, we were
Um,
Legacy. We were oh my God, you were Legacy, right? I feel like we're not that much. What do you like? I'm 40, so we're
I'm
the
56.
so please. Well, I was at the same clubs you were at, right? Legacy, Bay Ridge, we all were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Turquoise.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. For the listener out there, yeah, Brooklyn has the best foods, the best nightlife. Well, I mean, God, I've been outdated, but back in the day anyway, I mean, it was a place to be.
I feel like now it definitely changed. I feel like the past 10 years it's been changing slowly, but nothing
Yeah.
compared to like early 2000s, in my opinion. It was just the best. Nobody had like cell phones. Everything was just great. There was nothing like it is now. Now I feel bad for the kids.
There's no
This is
evidence.
true.
There was no evidence back then
No.
of nothing.
We were like in the parks drinking, 40s and like at a
I always
sleepover.
said, thank God we didn't have cell phones back
I
then.
know. I tell my friends
You're
that all
right.
the time.
I feel bad for the kids now because they don't think before they do things, and
No, and the internet is forever. It's on there forever, and it's even dating now. I feel bad for people who are dating. Like it's rough.
It is definitely. I mean, I feel bad too because it's a different world now. I'm glad I'm Generation X. I came back from that era where there were no cell phones and, there wasn't a camera on you everywhere you walk out.
No.
Today's world's different. There's no privacy, and what you do is out there forever.
I know.
And ever.
Like my mom sent me out after school, after homework. She's like, just come back for dinner. 5:30, we ate dinner, and that was it. Like nobody knew where we were, but we were always like safe. Everybody looked out for each other. It's just not like that anymore. It's sad.
This is true, especially the old neighborhoods. How do you like New Jersey? The adjustment.
Hold on. Cindy Simpson said no board in my house.
Girl, same. Never again will I touch it. I will not look at it. I've lesson learned. You could see the video, the picture on my TikTok, and if you let me know what you think it is, because people were comment. I never even looked at the background, but you could see like this big white thing on top. Insane. Like looking at the Ouija board as we're playing it. It was wild.
Yeah. There are some people in chat that's saying hello, Julia. The Facebook user. So I don't know who you are, but hello to everybody. There's no picture. There's no name. Yeah, I feel I'm sorry.
No, I was asking her about the adjustment from Brooklyn to New Jersey. Like we went from Staten Island to Pennsylvania in a way that,
I love home. I love being home. I love quiet. Like it was so easy for me because I love Jersey. I love being home, and I don't like the hustle and bustle. Like Brooklyn, obviously, I'm a Brooklyn girl at heart. I loved it, but nothing beats, trains. There's no trains outside. There's no yelling. And I love
fire engines, cop cars, shootings.
Yeah, I'm good. It was a good adjustment. I love it. So far, so good.
Yeah, that's nice. That's why we came out to Pennsylvania too, because all the traffic on the island and fire engines and cop cars, and you can't get anywhere at prime time. You just got to sit in your car. It's a parking lot.
Yeah.
And
I just have no patience anymore. I don't like going to Brooklyn anymore because I have to cross through Staten Island. It's the worst. It really is. It is.
And
Julie,
what?
No, go ahead. I'm going to bring up something.
Back then in Staten Island, it was because we've been here for a long time. The traffic was nothing compared to what it is now. But like I was telling Laurie, when we go back there, it's like you still get that feeling of you want to go home. You know what I mean? Like because you say it all the time, like the restaurants and like it's just. But then it's the traffic.
Yeah. And but it really isn't the same. I feel like it's not the same as when I was a kid. It's just there's no, I don't know.
True.
I don't feel any type of nostalgia when I go back to that, I don't, not anymore at least.
Yeah.
True. Okay. So Julia sent me one of your TikTok videos, which I was fascinated by. I was fascinated, one, because of the way you presented it, and two is because I actually see millionaires and billionaires talking about the same thing. So for our listeners out there, well, I definitely want to take some notes. The art of manifestation, the art of you can get what you want. And we're talking money and things coming to you, which is very difficult in a way. So tonight I want our guests to talk about it and how could help us and a lot of people listening, because it's true. I watch these people, and what they say is that you have to actually think you have something before you have it. Take it away.
So I'll tell you, when I started manifesting, I was 25, and I had 17,500 or whatever, 17,000 in student loans. And I was like, you know what? I read the book, The Secret. It's like, I'm just going to try this manifestation thing. Let me just attempt. So first thing I was like, okay, you know what? My student loans are paid off. They're paid off. First month, nothing happens. I wrote out the check. Second month, nothing happens. I wrote out the check. And then my father comes to me and he's like, there's these old bonds. He's like, they're from this bank, so there was Citibank in Brooklyn. But like, if you just go there, it's probably like $200 or $300. Might as well just cash them in. I'm like, awesome. Same loan, same bank. I'll just put it towards my student loans. I go there, $17,500, the exact amount that my student loans were. Okay. So there was like a couple of $100 left over. So I wound up buying my father something with it. I think it was like a pair of shoes or whatever, but that was the first thing. So I'm like, okay, it works. Let me try it for a husband. I was 25. I wanted to get married. I am also big into crystals. I had a rose quartz crystal. I wrote down exactly what I wanted in a husband, hair color, eye color, exactly what he did for a living, everything, how he was with our children. Wrapped it up in a crystal, slept on it, and 2 weeks later, I went on a blind date. Blind date, I never saw him before in my life, picked me up, and I've been with him ever since. I knew it. So my whole technique is that you have to be delusional about it. So I wanted a Range Rover, right? My absolute dream car. Obviously, I didn't have it. I'm like, and it was impossible to get this specific car. There was like a year waiting list. This was 2022. Like, I really want it. November 17th. I'm like, you know what? I'm driving a Range Rover. That's it. Every single time I got in my truck, I'm like, oh, you guys see, and my kids, I'm like, you see this brand new car? It's gorgeous. I kept talking about it. It's a Range Rover. It's a Range Rover. 2 days before Christmas, I got a call. My husband got a call and he's like, there just so happens to be one. Somebody dropped whatever lease. He's like, do you want it? So within a month, exactly what I wanted too. Black interior, white. It was exactly what I wrote down. Just be delusional. So I wound up getting the car right before Christmas. Meanwhile, it got stolen not even a year after somebody broke into my house, which is a whole other story. But delusion. You have to act like you already have it, but to the point where people think that I'm absolutely nuts. And I don't care. Yes, I'm crazy, but that's how it works. I live by it. I've been living by it since I'm 25, and it has worked every single time. Be delusional, but also be grateful.
That's crazy, and that is such a thing. And
It is.
I'm so happy that I found you, because this is it. It's going to teach our listeners that can work. And again, it's about intention too. You
Yes.
have the intention of it working, if that makes any sense. And
Yes, exactly. But also gratitude. So while I was driving the old truck, I was also driving a Range Rover, but also so grateful that I was even an owner of a car, just overwhelmed with gratitude, but also so delusional that people think you're absolutely freaking crazy. And I promise you it works. It really does.
so Phil,
No,
so if you can see what she's sitting right next to, it's a sauna.
Oh yes,
Right?
we just got this. So
look at that.
yeah, so it's an infrared sauna. My husband got it about, I don't know, 2 months ago. He's all into this. Like, we have to detox. I'm big into health, but this is not my thing. He loves it. This, I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to be sweating. I'm good. He's into it. Yeah.
What does that remind you of, right? But my thing I wanted to tell you is that if you manifest that, right, Phil, maybe you could get another one.
I used to have one.
No, you already have it. Tonight, when you go into the shower, just
Right. Yeah.
sauna.
Sorry.
It is your sauna. I'm telling you. Just be so delusional that you yourself really believe it. I believe it. I believed it, and people thought I was crazy, and I don't care.
No, you're not crazy, because you look at Bill Gates and Elon Musk, and there's a backstory they all talk about. And they talk about, you have to actually believe that you have it before you have it.
Mhm.
And then people would ask, well, how do I pay a bill that I can't pay? And they said, no, you can pay it. It's hard to do. Let's be real. It's not that easy, right? Like people listening right now say, well, how do I pay my electric bill or my rent or whatever? And it's kind of, what's your thought on that? Like, give someone advice. How do they believe within themselves that they can pay these bills and get what they want?
So like, my whole thing is, and like you said, it is very hard. And it's like, in the beginning, to train your minds and your subconscious minds. It takes a lot of work, but once you get it, now I'm just like queen manifester. So in my opinion, it takes like 15 seconds to shift your thoughts. So if I'm like, you know what, I can't pay this bill, you know, I'm in such debt, like what is wrong? Like everything bad is happening to me. In my opinion, you have 15 seconds. So acknowledge that thought that you're having, you know, that bad thought, and just shift it to the positive one. So if you're like, you know what, I can't pay this bill, just shift it to thank you for, you know, the money to pay it. Thank you for $500 in my account. And be as specific as you want, but acknowledge your thought that it is, you know, a negative one, and just shift it. And that's how it'll start working for you, you know. And I had notes in my car when I started manifesting. I had notes in my car, like affirmations, whatever affirmation I needed at that time. So, you know, my husband, for instance, I was like, I have a husband who is X, Y, and Z. I never said, there was not a thought crossed my mind that, like, you know, I'm not going to find him. And that's what a lot of women, like, they can't find love. I can't find love. And then they'll send me these messages and they'll be like, I can't do this. Nothing's going right for me, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, just reread what you just sent me, you know, and I'll send them the paragraph back. And I'm like, just say this instead. Do this instead. Just shift your words and shift your thoughts. And you have, in my opinion, again, like 15 seconds to do so. So acknowledge it, and then you'll be fine. Like the negative thoughts won't get to you, and the negative won't, like, you know, manifest. It'll be the positive, because you can shift them. So just acknowledge it, shift it, and then believe it.
Well, I got to say something, okay? So everybody, make sure you listen up. What's today's date, Julie? What's today's date? The 19th?
19th.
Yes.
Tonight, Phil Siracusa is going to hit the Mega Millions for $400 million.
That's right.
And
We hit it already. I'm so
I
happy.
already hit it. I can, in fact, you know what? When this show's over, Julie, I'm ordering a car. I'm booking a cruise.
Okay.
We're doing it. In fact, I want to go to Icon of the Seas because that thing's unreal. But
You know what?
I have to
Write
do
a
that.
list of what you're doing with the money. Obviously, you have to give a lot away, but write a list of what you're doing with the money. And do it. Do it. I've won the money. I've, like, done, not Mega Millions, imagine, but like whatever you do really want, I'm telling you, it is possible. Whatever you want to do in your life, whatever you want to be, whoever you want to marry, like nothing is impossible. It is so possible. Just figure out what you want to do and go get it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that. Words of wisdom.
You're helping so many, you know, your videos too, and you taking the time to answer people back and Messenger. I mean, you're helping. I don't think you realize how many people that you are helping out there, and that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I don't consider myself like an influencer yet or something. I really just started with audios, and I'm like, you know what? Then something again woke me up at 3 a.m, was like, tell your story. I was like, what story are you talking about? I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I was watching the show on NDEs, and it came to me like, oh my God, you know what? It's been 20 years. Let me just tell the story. And that's what started it all.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
I mean, I've had some evil. Did you hear my evil story? Like the evil spirit that I saw?
No.
Oh my God. But this was like,
I don't know. Tell me.
okay, so it was in the same exact house as before. I was sleeping downstairs. My grandmother had passed away, so I took over like her apartment. And I had my sister's friend was sleeping upstairs, and he was on the couch. He was like sleeping with a blanket like this. I astral projected to the top of the stairs, flew down, and then I was looking at him sleeping, and I'm like, okay, well, he's sleeping. And then all of a sudden I see this, like, it's like, I can't even talk about this, like black demon thing start like floating towards him, and he's floating super slow, and he had these like these red beating eyes. It was all black and just with these red eyes, and it stopped like right on top of him. Ugh. And like it was face to face. So he was sleeping, he was like right on top of him, just like ready to, I swear, like steal his soul or something. So I'm like looking at this demon thing. I'm by the stairs. I'm like 10 feet away, and I'm like, oh my God, if this thing sees me, it's going to kill me. Like, I know I'm dead. Like, that's it. That's how like bad and evil it was. I'm like, it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me. So all of a sudden I'm like, he can't see me. He can't see me. All of a sudden he like starts turning his head super slow motion, starts turning his head. And like the second before we made eye contact, I like jumped back in my body. But now I'm like, oh my God, there's a demon upstairs. What do I do? Like, I'm paralyzed with fear downstairs. I'm like, I need to go tell him that something's on top of him, right? So I get the courage to go upstairs and I'm like, listen, there's a demon. Imagine being woken up at 3:00 in the morning. Like, there's a demon on top of you. He was just like, shut up, go back to bed. All right. But I went back to bed. I did my part to tell him, but even after the day after, I'm like, did you dream of anything? He's like, no. I'm like, there's a demon on top of you. I swear to God. But yeah, it was crazy. That was like the scariest one that I ever, like, I won't even call it an encounter, witnessed.
You witnessed it.
Wow.
We do a lot of readings for people who do astral project. And I would say that the people that do that are gifted. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Phil?
Definitely. That's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do.
Project. You really need full concentration to do something like that.
Yes.
My mom did it voluntarily. Her and her sister were, they went to these classes to learn how to do it back in the day. And so she did it voluntarily, and she was like, I couldn't handle seeing myself sleeping. So I was too scared. I always bounced back into my body. But my aunt had astral projected, and she did it voluntarily all the time. Me, every time I tried to do it, my brother does it also all the time, voluntarily. Me, I feel like as soon as I, start to get that tingly feeling, I have tried. I bounce right back into my body because I'm scared. I'm going to see something evil, and I'm not supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to be in that dimension. I'm not supposed to be where they are. And I feel like if they catch me for some reason, I'm like, I'm not supposed to be there. So let me just not do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it based off of your religion beliefs that demons exist, or is it based off of experience, off of your consciousness?
I feel like both. Where there's good, there's evil, right? But also getting back to hell, right? There is a heaven. From what I experienced, there is no hell. There is no hell. Like, it does not exist. So I don't know. I have seen a demon in my experience, but religion teaches it to me also. But then again, religion also taught me that there is a hell, and if you take your own life, you're going there. And from what I experienced, no, that's not true.
It's interesting because, well, the demon, let's just say hypothetically, the demon is a real thing, right? Well, that's hell, right? A demon comes from the darkness, from the negative energy, from the abyss of nothingness. So then that would be what we would name it as. We can call it hell, or the dark voyage of nowhere. But the figure, the demon itself, is based off religion. And the reason I bring that up is because it's interesting. I grew up Catholic. Do I believe in everything that they say? I don't. I don't disrespect anyone's religion or beliefs, but being a paranormal investigator and having my own experiences of a near-death experience on the other side, and then there are negative entities, right? I've experienced that. So then it raises the question, are these figures based off of a belief system? If you didn't believe in anything, would you experience anything? Would you experience heaven? If you didn't believe in heaven, if you're an atheist and you believe we die, we come from the A cell, we just evolved, right? Or is it based off thought of belief where we actually think we come from? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, no. Or let me just ask a question. Or what about the people who I know you've had a near-death experience. What about the people that I've heard their stories that do go to this type of hell? Where is that? Like, what is that? Is it like, why are they experiencing that? And those people that have the NDE, they weren't bad people, So when you had yours, like, did you feel any type of hell? Did you feel like it exists at all?
I had it at 14, and that was a transition right through a tunnel, right to the other side. No, that was all peaceful, and everything is incredible. Not even our words, and we don't even have the colors that are on the other side. Those colors are just unbelievable. But then, as a paranormal investigator, we kick up negative entities that we don't think that they're negative, but then they do things that are destructive towards people. And we say to ourselves, where are these things coming from? And it raises my thoughts of, this whole alien thing. And I know that's out there, but it's not. Because some of the top people in the world are coming forward now and say they're not aliens, they're interdimensional beings, which are good and bad. There's
Right.
different kinds of these things. And if it's interdimensional, we don't know exactly the capabilities of what they can do. Do they feed off of our negative thoughts, for example, right? So let's say you're doing a Ouija board and you're upset and your vibration's really low.
Yeah.
Does it attract the interdimensional being to come closer to you and cause havoc?
So
And see you fear and fear within you, and then all of a sudden that fear creates negative energy, which gives it strength, right?
and that's what I believe.
It's so interesting, but yet there's no exact answer or science to it.
I know, but that's why I always say, like, try and keep yourself in a high
Yes.
vibrational, because when you have that fear and when you have those negative feelings, when you're the most vulnerable, and I do believe that your body could be possessed, like, what is that
Yeah.
movie? What is
The
the movie?
Exorcist?
Yeah, so 100% that could happen. When you're in such a low vibrational state and your soul is so vulnerable, your body is exhausted, you're just vulnerable. They pick up on that. They're like, you're scared, you're nervous, you're whatever, all those negative feelings, they'll take that and run with it. And that's why you have to keep yourself like high. It's so important to me.
You're
But they
absolutely
do. Fear is like the worst feeling you could feel, and there was nothing up there when I went to heaven. There was no negative feelings. Like
No.
nothing existed like that, right? Nothing. It was just, and there was no time. Time didn't exist. No bad feeling, no negative feelings. It was just love and like home. It was just like where you should be.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, home. And I talk about the garden in heaven and the fields. And again, we don't have the exact words of the beauty. Our simpleton words that we make up don't even come close to what it really is. So as an experience of both ends, right? Like we know that there's negative vibrations that these interdimensional things can come through and cause havoc. We talk about possession, the movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think that's one of the most truest documented stories ever existed. Now, again, she had problems, yes, but she was at a lowest state of vibration.
And that's when they come and snatch you right up, and I do believe it. I do believe it. And like these people who also commit these like heinous acts, don't you believe some of them could be like,
Absolutely.
they're demons, and they're not themselves. And like I've watched so many stories, true crime. I'm a true crime fanatic also. You listen to these stories and they're like, no, their eyes were black. Like they were not themselves. Like they looked at me and I've never seen that face before. Like they're not themselves. So yes, I do believe that, you can become some type of like possessed, and these beings, and they're walking around among us. They're all among us. They're with us now. I don't believe there's like aliens from another planet that are going to come and, invade. They're here already.
There
They're
you
here.
go.
I got to make a funny out of this one, because I think if the aliens were going to come invade, they'd be like, peace out.
I know.
You guys are all messed up.
Really, they don't even
I said that if they're looking for like intelligent, people, I mean,
we already messed up the planet. We messed up everything. Now we're going to mess up Mars, according to everybody else. So That's what we do. We mess things up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. We did not do the right thing. But
No, but I like the way you think, and I like to play both sides of the fence. The skeptic, again, I'm an experiencer, so I know. My wife knows, right? We're investigators, and also the person who believes, because people want to hear both sides. There's people that just don't believe, and then there's people that say, well, maybe there is something else. There is. I think that some of us are messengers to help others along the way. This is real. This is all real. Now, let's get into your content. You're a content creator. You have a nice following and you build up a nice audience yourself. Let's talk about it.
you know what? I started with pretty much the heaven video. And this was last summer. Again, like something woke me up, said, tell your story. And I'm like, what story? And I told it on TikTok, and that was the first one that went viral. And so, I mean, I don't have any type of niche, I guess. I just do whatever what comes to my mind, and I just tell whatever story comes to my mind. But I don't have any goal in mind, I guess. But I like it. There's nothing,
That's great.
no big, huge goal for me. I like being called a content creator because I don't know who I'm influencing. I'm not an influencer.
Yeah. I know, I get what you're saying, but I think that you're both. I mean, if you really look what you just said, you have people messaging you, asking you for advice on things, and for me, even as a medium, I can see that you do help people. You might not know it, but you do.
Thank you. And I do love the messages. I do love helping them, and I love answering all the messages, and I do try to answer all of them, but
It's hard.
that's more important to me than even making the videos, because people have come to me like I am, I don't want to like bring people's business up, but they have said, I'm at this state where I do want to end it all, help, I need this help. And I'm like, more than happy to do it. And if that one person was the reason that I needed to start a TikTok, then so be it.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Talking about suicide, I'm into I'm part of a big movement, the NDI studies and all that. And since January, I don't know if the listener knows this, but in the United States alone has been over 40,000 suicides since January. And, it's sad, right? Because people are not seeing hope, and they're not seeing a way, and they're not getting help. And
the system's failing us.
And how many are under 18? How many babies? How many kids under 18? That statistic. I don't know the statistic, but I'm sure it's a big majority. Why? It makes me so
failing not only minors but adults too, with problems and everything's just very sad.
And it's worse now than it's ever been. And again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm trying to be a realist. I'm a realist, right? And people don't see a way. They don't see hope. They don't have faith. And people should always reach out to somebody and talk to them before you do something like that.
Yes.
And there's always a way through things. There's always a way. And I believe that in our darkest pits and the short journey of the physical realm, we've chosen somehow, we've designed this, and we have to get through that mountain. And once you get through it, things can get better for you. Give me some thoughts on your take on that as well.
So I do think that we come, we know our path before we come to Earth, right? And our life is full of lessons. Like, for somebody that, and this is exactly also when I went to heaven, what I understood. So like when you do commit suicide, you have to come back and learn whatever lesson you need to learn. You have to keep doing it until you learn your lesson. So if you do have those negative feelings, and if you do, you feel like you want to end it all, just know that it's a lesson to be learned, and you will overcome it and find a way. Like you said, talk to somebody, anyone, just you're here for that specific lesson in your lifetime. And I don't want to say make the same mistake, but don't make the same mistake, because you're going to have to come back and do it again. Everybody that I feel like takes their own life has to come back and do it again.
Right.
You know, it's a lesson. Our life is full of lessons. We're here just to learn, and our soul has to continuously come back to learn every single life lesson, you know?
Phil, what do you think about that? What you just said?
Just
Do
come
you
back.
Well, it's interesting because I believe before we come into the physical realm, we have a soul contract.
Yeah.
And the soul contract, we choose our parents, we choose everything of what and our obstacles, right? And you go, you know, we're all born innocent children, right? We're all innocent. That's how we start out. But based on the soul contract, I guess the question arises is that, well, if in the soul contract you say, well, I'm hitting the exit sign at 20 years old, and then we say, well, you know, go on, are we changing that person's soul contract? You know, it's kind of like you get lost in there in that shuffle. Now, the Amish people believe that, you know, if you're sick, some of them, like the really hardcore ones from back in the day, don't believe you should be medicated. It's God's will. If you have to go, you have to go. You know, you can use natural remedies, but they don't believe in a lot of things we believe in, the urban medications and all that stuff, right? So now we talk about a soul contract and suicide, but suicide is at a sad rate right now. And I just wonder, are soul contracts changed? And is that what they designed? Or is it something that they didn't design? And they say, no, we never designed that. We never designed that. Society is putting us in this position where we don't see a way forward.
I definitely think society has a lot to do with it, and also free will. I feel like you're born, yes, your soul contract. And when you're born, you know you're going to be put in this position where you're like, I want to end it all. And this is where, this is where the big decision has to be made, right? It's either you move forward and you overcome that life lesson, or you again take your life and have to redo it again. You know, you have to come back and the same exact lesson, be faced with this decision. Am I going to overcome whatever is, deep rooted, whatever I need to overcome, or do I repeat it? And you're going to have to keep doing it. So it's like, same thing over and over again. And that's what I really do believe. I do believe, my cousin has to come back. He has to learn that lesson. My father, same. Everybody who does, take their own life, they have to redo it and hopefully overcome. Hopefully.
What's your thoughts on reincarnation?
We do reincarnate to, again, learn specific lessons. And I don't know if this can really compare, but I do feel like there is karma. And like going back to hell, so all these evil people, right? They don't deserve heaven. They deserve the hell that we were taught. But what I felt was, you take somebody's life, you go to this purgatory place, and you're not allowed in heaven, but you know exactly what it's like. So you know that it's peaceful, you know that it's love. You're not allowed there. Instead, you have to go back and either be on the receiving ends of murder or have somebody, you love be murdered. And that is true suffering, is it not? That is hell. So that's their lesson, and that's their reincarnation, and that is their soul contract. That's in their soul contract. And then, then they move up, or then they have to learn another lesson and come back. You understand? But this is what my opinion, what I believe. But and then
do you believe when you cross over, when your time comes, right, that you're going to see your father and your brother?
I do.
Okay, now let me ask you this. What happens, in your thought, if they're already reincarnated? How would you see them?
So, yeah, I know. That is the big question, because I have no idea. So, and also, I can't answer that question, because if you do reincarnate, what about all of the people that already passed? I don't know. What are your thoughts? You tell me, because I've been thinking about this thing forever. I don't know.
it's very tricky. What if you reincarnate as, you know, a child or a love, you know, one of your something like
And
that.
you hear those stories. You hear those stories of people, people reincarnating, and you talk about their past life. And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I guess we'll see when we get over there.
I was just going to say that at the end, we're covered with more questions than answers, and you know, I think when we do cross over is when we're gonna have all the answers to all of these questions. But
In my opinion, again, look, the mind is a computer, and the computer has software and data that's limited, right? It's not unlimited, as if like you have an out-of-body experience. From what I've learned and studied is we are on multiple dimensions, where we try to fathom, well, we're just on Earth, and no. It's way out there that we can even comprehend, but what I'm understanding is that we're on multiple dimensions at the same time. And I asked that question because I like those curveball questions. Well, if you're reincarnated, how would you see a loved one? And the answer is, do you believe in God?
Yes.
Okay.
But now also going back to I'm sorry, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, I was going to come to that. You say you believe in God, right? And then some people say, well, I never see a God. And then it's the faith that makes you believe in God. It's the faith that makes you believe in God without seeing the God, right? So the God can be the creator that your thought process through a subconscious form is creating to be the overwhelming being of light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I always say, like, especially when I do my lectures and all that, that we are the creator. We're the creator. Yes, there's a higher vibration, and yes, there is a God, yes. But we're also on multiple dimensions simultaneously. Have you ever heard the expression that you're not just here, you're other places too? And that's when you see you astral project.
Yes.
You're at multiple places at one time.
But that
not
also,
physically,
you're
spiritually.
right, 100%, because that's why I also believe in quantum leaping.
Yes.
So now, like, we're multidimensional, right? There's a version of you that already won the Powerball. There is a version of you that is dirt poor. There is a version of you. There's so many right now. There's so many different versions of you. So quantum leap into the best version of yourself. Go quantum leap into that multi-million-dollar winner, because everything's connected, right? Everything is connected. You are 100% right. Multi-dimensional beings. It's exactly what we are. So
absolutely.
She hit it on the head. She actually hit it on the head, Joel, where she's right. I was waiting for it, and I was trying to pull it out of her. She's right. And she did it. She said it. If this is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you won. You win. You get everything. You definitely got the answer on that. And that, to me, the fact that you know that tells me a lot about you, that you have more knowledge than what you might even think.
Wait, who picked her? I knew it.
You know what it is? I have all the knowledge, I swear, but I'm such an introvert. I do not know how to get it out, and I don't know how to speak very well. Like in podcasts, I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna, like, I'm sweating right now because this is not me. I don't know how to speak, about what I know. I really don't. So it's something I need to work on.
But you are, and I guess because maybe it's your first one, and once you now that you're getting the hang of it, keep doing it, because
I'll see you next week.
You have a lot to say.
I do, and you know what? I do have a lot of knowledge with a lot of things spiritual, and like quantum leaping. I've been quantum leaping for a year, and I'm thinking about doing just a series on how to. Because I'm comfortable when I'm by myself and doing my TikToks, because it's like my little safe space,
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Well, it's
awesome job. I'm impressed. Very impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I do.
You were a great guest.
And there's nothing to worry about. There's only 800,000 listeners right now, so you have nothing to worry about.
I'm sweating. Really, I do. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, really quick, we're at the end of the hour. Wow, that went fast. But where can people find you?
So I'm really only on TikTok now because again I'm not like this. I don't consider myself an influencer, but it's LauBee 27 is my TikTok, and I just made an Instagram, but just TikTok for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Shout out to Marianne Clark. Just wanted to say hello because she's in chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. We had it was a great show.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
I'm definitely gonna have you back in the future.
I'll be back, and I'll be a little, less nervous.
No, you did awesome. You did great. And I definitely want to have her back because I want to cover the quantum physics of all dimensional beings. I also want to cover the Mandela effect.
Oh, don't get me started on Mandela. I have a lot to say about that. But yes.
Until next time, we're definitely going to have you back on, and we're going to go through it all. All right, Julie, wrap it up.
Special thank you to Carnation for fully sponsoring the show from day one. Thank you. We love them. And please join us next Monday night on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.